Now a few days ago I stayed up till 3 AM to record a video on the new Kakashi DLC that came to Shinobi Striker, and I said in that video that he was okay and not quite as good as his attack build counterpart with the single Sharingan. But after a few more days and a lot more testing, I came to realize that this guy is an absolute monster, and that he is probably not just one of the most powerful DLCs to ever come out, but probably the most powerful just because of how broken Kamui is. Like, I almost felt dirty on how easily I was able to eliminate people in the Ninja World League. So then I decided to mix and match as many things as I could with the Kakashi DLC until I came up with the top 5 most lethal builds you could have revolving around Kamui. And I'll be telling you those straight after the intro. Coming in at number 5 is one I feel is fairly obvious, but it's the Kamui and the Majestic Destroyer Flame build. I see many people online use this build quite a lot, and there's probably few wondering why it ranked at number 5 instead of maybe number 1 or 2. But first I want to get on to why this is a very usable and very decent build. Now what Kamui does is it pretty much makes you untouchable unless you attack another person, but as soon as you stop you're untouchable again while the duration of the jutsu is active. But what it also can do is give your character buffs. But the main buff you need to take note of for this build is the damage buff you get. The other jutsu that is on this build is Majestic Destroyer Flame, which if you don't know what it is, then you either don't play Shinobi Striker or I just don't know what to tell you, but it is pretty much one of the most, if not the most destructive jutsu in the range class, and mixed in with Kamui's damage buff, it is even more lethal than it was before, but we're not done just yet. I highly recommend you equip a gear piece with Power of Spades to boost your ninjutsu damage. So pretty much it's pretty much just relying on Majestic Destroyer Flame to absolutely annihilate all your opponents. But to go with your Kamui and Majestic Destroyer Flame, I highly recommend you use the Demon Wind Shuriken. It's not really a problem on what type of substitution clone you use, but I highly recommend either using Tandem Paper Bombs or Kirin as your ultimate jutsu. Now, despite this being a very good build, it's still number 5 on this list just because Majestic Destroyer Flame can be quite easily avoided, especially if the other person has Kamui. And if they do get ready to see you shoot out that Majestic Destroyer Flame that you have worked so hard to buff, they can easily just press Kamui and woohoo, all that buffs you just went into that one move gone. However, I have won quite a few survival arenas with this build. It is still very good, but I feel there are just better ones as well. Now coming in at number 4 is something I like to call the lightning style build. Now once again, it doesn't really matter what your ultimate jutsu is, but it is highly recommended you use either Kirin or Tandem Paper Bombs accompanied by Demon Wind Shuriken. It once again doesn't really matter what substitution you use, but I like to use the lightning style shadow clone, especially for this build, because the combination of these two jutsus work so well together, and that is the Lightning Shuriken Net accompanied by Kamui Lightning Blade. Now how this works is you throw your Lightning Shuriken Net and follow it up with the Kamui Lightning Blade. If you can't use that, just follow it up with a combo or a Demon Wind Shuriken. It's up to you, you've got many tools at your disposal. It's very easy to get assist of the Lightning Shuriken Net just because of its range, and you can have the Kamui Lightning Blade to counter people who are using Kamui, because Kamui Lightning Blade can hit someone using Kamui Bond. Now coming in at number 3 is the original 2 jutsu that came with the DLC, Kamui Lightning Blade and Kamui Bond. Now I didn't really want to have these 2 jutsu paired together on a build list, but they're just that good. Once again proving to me on how overpowered this DLC really is. Although it has a few changes to the DLC, as the Kakashi we got had a pretty weak ultimate jutsu, although it does delete people that are very close, They need to be very close, and there's some bugs with it where it just will deactivate very quickly and not do anything whatsoever. But with the combination of a Demon Wind Shuriken and Kirin or a Tandem Paper Bomb, then you got yourself a pretty nasty build. And the mode this is probably the most OP on is Capture the Flag, as you can just smack Kamui Bond and then just wait till the flag loads onto your shoulder, dash away with Kamui Lightning Blade, and by the time you've gotten away from everyone, Kamui Bond has already reloaded. So you're pretty much untouchable with the flag. Honestly, I just refuse to use this build on Capture the Flag just because of how dirty I feel using it. Now, what I will say is this build is probably second equal, just for the fact that the build I have coming in number 2 is a direct counter to this build. But this one does probably slightly more damage than the other build, just for the fact the other build doesn't use Demon Wind Shuriken. But coming in at number 2 is the Heavenly Hand Power build. Now, pretty much when I was working out the best builds for this, I was also working out counters, and this one seems to be the most effective, and not just against Kamui, is overall a very good build. Now, what you'll need for this build is Heavenly Hand Power Kamui Lightning Blade and Paralysis Tag. Once again, not mattering about the substitution or ultimate jutsu, once again recommending Kirin or Tandem Paper Bombs, and I will till the end of this video. Now, how this build works is you place down a Paralysis Tag, you swap places with them using Heavenly Hand Power, and then either smash them with Kamui Lightning Blade or a combo, or just straight up throw kunai into their face. If you didn't know, Heavenly Hand Power will work on both Kamui Lightning Blade and Kamui Bonds. So people are not invulnerable to this. If you swap places with them, they will be hit by the Paralysis Tags because it will deactivate the Kamui. This will also work on Obito's Kamui Climax as well. Now, this build is very good and very versatile, and it's probably my favorite build on this list. Now, the thing with Heavenly Hand Power is it's very good at every single mode in one way or another. Specifically, Capture the Flag and base battles, you can just stick down a Paralysis Tag, swap places with them, take that base or flag, and then it's your win. Now, this build is good on every single mode, pretty much. If they're guarding a base or a flag, you can just stick down a Paralysis Tag, swap places with them, they'll be paralyzed while you steal the flag or base, and you'll do it right under their nose. And I imagine that'll annoy them actually, but it's fun. And Kamui Lightning Blade obviously on its own can hit anyone, because even with Kamui Bonds, Kamui Climax, it'll still hit. And it does pretty decent damage. It's the best of the Jidori Lightning Blade variations in the game. Now, number 1 goes to the Amaterasu and Kamui Bonds combo. Now, I have only lost one game in Survival Arena with this build, and that's just because I didn't really know the right way to use it. But after I learned how to use this build properly, I have not lost since, and I am not even joking. This build is so fun to use because you can just see people's health disappearing, and it's just so OP on Survival Arena that it's not even funny. Now, the way you want to play is actually using a Demon Wind Shuriken and not Paralysis Tags. I still got use out of those because I figured out a neat little combo to do with the Kamui Bonds and the Paralysis Tags. Pretty much just before they attack you, you place down a Paralysis Tag and activate Kamui, and while they're attacking you, they obviously can't touch you, and then they'll get paralyzed and you can do a nice little combo on them. But with the Kamui Bonds damage buff, this will shred the health of people who walk into the Amaterasu. Now, to add insult to injury, if you have a gear piece with Spiteful Spirit, it'll lengthen the amount of time your opponent suffers. Now, I wouldn't usually suggest such a build that is so incredibly dirty, but it is just so much fun to use, and definitely underutilized on the online mode. So those have been my picks for the top 5 best builds to come out of the Kakashi DLC. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, comment down below if you want to see me do more of these top 5 lists, and I'll catch you all in the next one.